All right. So once I get a little bit more of a liking of her, I could see that her chin might be just a little too long. So I will go ahead and cut that. I could also see that her face might be too long. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that a little bit. All right, here we go. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the center of her lips. All right, so I'm gonna pull this line just a little straight up, and I'm gonna pull this line a little straight up, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give a little marking for the lip. I don't have to go too crazy with a lip. You actually don't want to do an excessive amount of detail with the lip. You want to just mark things, okay? Oops, sorry. Just mark. All right, here we go. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the center of the lips. So once I do the center area of the lip, remember what I always tell you, try not to align the bottom lip to the top lip. They're actually a little disconnected. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and do the line for her bottom lip. Right there. So this is the top part of my top lip. This is the inside of my top lip. This is the inside of my bottom lip. And that's the bottom side of the bottom part of my bottom lip. All right, so there we go. So she looks a little square, but remember what I said, we don't mind that squareness because we could always round it off with oil. And if we start doing that square too soon, then we'll be in trouble. Remember, trouble doesn't mean that I'm going to get you in trouble. And trouble means that the picture's going to be in trouble, okay? Because some students like, oh, boy, am I going to get in trouble? It's like, no, you're not going to get in trouble. I'm just saying that the picture's going to get you in trouble. All right. All right. So I'm just going to come back with my kneaded eraser here and just soften some of my lines down. That way we know which ones are the better lines. And she's actually quite soft, you guys. Remember, I'm just doing these square shapes for you guys to see the detail. All right, so here we go. So she's in there, the big picture's in there. She might not be as feminine as we can, but she's pretty good. She's actually in a good spot. She's in a good placement. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw more detail. Just remember, because I'm done with this part, it doesn't mean that the picture's done. It still means that we could go in and do more and more and more work to her, okay? So here we go. I wanna make sure that I have a good drawing just because, like I said, it's for them. So I don't wanna like, ooh, I don't like what came out of this. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. All right, so she's there. All right, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm not gonna round off her features. This part is important because students think that when I do this step, I'm actually making lines like this. No, what I'm doing is I'm doing more straight lines that actually make a round shape. But it's not a round shape, it's just more lines, okay? We're actually gonna do detail now as well, and we're gonna do values, okay? On this one here, you don't see it that nicely because the camera is a little bit at an angle. On the YouTube one, you see it a lot better because the camera is more frontal. Just remember, so if she looks a little funny from this angle, later on just go to the YouTube one, this one, that's more frontal, and her features look more adequate, okay? All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna start just doing a few more reference lines that I might be able to use. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna do the cheekbone, okay? I wanna make sure that later on I could actually see where the cheekbone is going. Right now she might actually look old because I have all these lines. When I paint, I'm just gonna have those lines as a reference. They're gonna help me a lot, okay? All right, so here we go. It doesn't matter where we start now, or it doesn't matter where we start at this point. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and solidify my contour line. My contour line is not an outline, but it feels like an outline. Usually it defines her shapes a little bit better. I'm saying it's not an outline because we don't just go and trace everything or outline everything. It's only the darker areas, the deeper shadows, the angles that are in the shadows that we tend to make a little darker, but it's not the entire piece, all right? All right, so here we go. All right, so what I'm gonna do is just finish up the detail. Once I finish up the detail, I'll go into a little heavier contour line, then I'll start hatching a tiny bit, okay? So imagine, well, don't imagine because I'm going to just draw the entire thing. So now that I know where her eyes or where her brow goes, now I am more able to do her eyes. If you actually found a really good photo of your sitter, you would want to make sure that you see your eye sockets, okay? On her, the light is very kind of up, but a little frontal, so a lot of her eye sockets are not very visible, but you could actually find a sitter, or not a sitter, but a photograph that has more of a more interesting, you could say, lighting. I made her eye just a tiny bit too high. Yeah, it's just a tiny bit too high. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna restart. I'm gonna change my line a little lower. I pull my brows down too. All right, so here we go. It's like, why, you didn't change it enough? It's like, yep, I changed it enough. It's like, but you barely did a little higher line. It's like, that is enough. That is enough to make her look like her aunt instead of her. It's enough to make her look like somebody completely different. So even though it looks like I didn't do a big enough change, for me, it is a big enough change. All right. So here they go. That's her eyes. I'm just gonna subtract a bit from there. I just don't want her eyes to be lopsided. That's like my main thing. So I'm definitely using my grid to draw. But just remember, you don't want her eyes to feel like one's too high, one's too low. And right now she looks good, but she also looks a little abstract. Remember, we are not made of lines. We're made of values. So even though her features are drawn in a good place, they're drawn properly, it also matters how we approach the value, how we actually do the value parts on the portrait when it comes to color or paints. Okay, so here we go. So the rest of the features I'm okay with. I'm happy. So I'm just gonna go start rendering. All right. So I don't need such a dark nose. I need a little bit of a dark nostril. So I'm gonna go ahead. So I'm going to darken not the entire eye, just mostly the upper eyelid, and mostly on the left side. Right. And if you guys are using a charcoal, you guys could do some really nice lines, but overall they're going to be a little thick, and that's okay because the paint is going to get rid of a lot of this. All right. All right, so here we go. Looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and start working down here. Pull the nose there. I still feel my nose went a little too long, so I'm going to have to change it because remember, it's somebody that I know, and it's for something kind of special for them. So I don't want to make them look like they're not them. So I lifted the nose, and I don't know if you guys have noticed how much I lift things. I lift things very little because it's not that the first nose was really off, it was just slightly off. But slightly off is enough to make us look different, because just don't forget that we all have the same features. It's just the little differences that actually make us different. And now I'm gonna have to change the lips, all right? It's like, does he really need to change the lips? Yes, I do. Almost the same amount that I lifted there. It's the same amount that I'm lifting over here. And I'm okay with that. You know, it's not, again, I'm just drawing it right now. And if I make my mistakes while I draw, which by the way, you're gonna see that I'm not gonna draw on the next painting, or I'm not gonna draw with graphite. It's okay to do my mistakes now and not to try to change my mistakes later. Or, sorry, not to try to adjust the mistakes later. If I already identify them, it's like, I could do it with oil paint, or I could not, you know, just ignore it. But I already know what they are, so might as well. All right. There we go. So again, now her chin is too big. It's okay. Remember, it's okay to do these changes. It's okay if things did not turn out perfect. It's part of the drawing process. But like I said, it's better to do these changes now than to do these changes later. Usually at my studio, I have a better easel, but I'm just using what you might have at home, or nothing too special. I could lift my figure up a lot more. Here are my easels, just studio easels, the ones that everybody uses in the studio. All right, and there we go. I'm much happier now. And listen to your music, you know, get your favorite drink out, whatever you guys drink, coffee, juice, milk. anything, okay? So there we go. I'm pretty happy with the portrait now, but this is just part of the portrait, all right? At this stage now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start hatching. So the hatching is gonna verify my shadows. You guys are gonna see in a second that I usually don't do this when I work at my studio, but if you guys are barely starting off, or if you guys wanna have a more accurate oil paint, this is the proper way of working, okay? This would be the better approach when working on here, all right? So I figured out where her structure is. I figured out where her features go, you know, pretty good. I like that. Everything looks like it's in the right place. All right, so now we're gonna do hatching, okay? So what is hatching? Hatching is adding values by just moving your charcoal like this. Okay, that's hatching. You want to make sure that if there's defined features, you hatch heavier. If there's not defined features, you hatch lighter. All right, so I'm just going to start on the hair. So somewhere around here, her hair has lights and darks. And it's not because she painted her hair light and dark, it's just because light is hitting the top part versus the bottom part, okay? So once I find that, I'm only gonna do my hatching in one direction. All right. So I'm just trying to define where her hair goes. Again, if you're using a B, sorry, not a B, not a hard pencil, or a B pencil or a medium charcoal, these lines would be more accurate. But we're not using a B, we're using a soft. That way you guys, like I said, you guys could actually see it on the streaming. And keep me posted, you guys, for like, if you guys notice that I'm actually not streaming, just let me know, okay? Because I should be streaming, but I have no clue if it's going through. All right. I enjoy technology, but I'll be honest, I might not be the tech person here. So now, as I hatch, my picture changes into a picture-based painting. It's not a painting based on what do you call it? Lines anymore. I'm trying to make it a painting based on values. All right, we'll try to do a little lighter one here. I'll try to do a little bit of the side of the nose here. All right, I'll try to. These lines to me are already nice enough, and I could actually do a value. All right, and maybe just a little one here. These I could even soften them away. I don't need them to be that dark. All right, and I think that's pretty good, you know, for the values, for her portrait. Maybe I want to do just a little bit here. But overall, I think that's pretty good. It'll do her justice for right now. All right, a little highlight there, and I think that'll be good. All right, everything else I could actually do with paint, and we're probably gonna do that in the next session, right? You guys are not gonna see this today, but I'm actually gonna finish him. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. That way, when you guys actually come in to the actual painting session, he will be already ready to go. So I'm gonna do some of her brows. You can use your kneaded eraser. And you'll be all set. Alrighty guys, I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. So I'm gonna let this thing continue to run, just a 5-minute break. I'm gonna set up for the other thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pause the YouTube one, okay? Bye-bye.